there tonight. So we're on the other side of the room because we're gonna do some stuff that needs to be plugged in. So if you don't know who I am, Johnny Daniel, independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up. It's Wednesday night at 7 o'clock. How are you? Just getting some things set up and we'll get started here. So give me just a half a second. Hi, Miss Cheryl. How are you, hun? I saw you pop in. Just getting the computer up and going. As always, we're gonna give everybody about a minute to pop on and get started with things tonight. So, alrighty. So if you don't know, the new catalog has started as of yesterday with a bang, yay. Couple things to note with that start. First off, there's already some back orders. We're not talking about this, but if you want to know specifically, please contact me. Also, let's see, there's going to be within the next month or so a adapter plate, for lack of better terms, for the 3D embossing folders because we switched suppliers. So instead of doing shims, unless you want to, there's going to be an adapter available for $10. Let's see, what else? The 3D embossing folders that carried over, like the tufted, like the basket weave, like there's about 4 of them and I can't remember anymore off the top of my head. Oh, the plank one, Pinewood planks. Forgive me if I'm forgetting any. Anyways, those have not come in from the other supplier yet, so those currently are not available. I do have a list of those that are available if anybody wants it, and I'll be emailing that out probably tomorrow morning with my weeklies. Yes, I'm running late this week. Lot of things going on with the launch, so sorry if I've slacked off on certain things that we're used to, but we'll get there like everything else. So I did get BOGO done and a couple other things done, and that's been the primary focus. So everything else is kind of fallen by the wayside, and I'm picking it back up and we're off to the races again. Okay, alrighty, so it happens, there's only one of me. So with that being said, we're gonna cook tonight with a heat tool. Yes, I did it as a Wacky Wednesday this morning, but I thought I'd show you how to do it physically on a video. It's a kind of cool concept, and it makes it so you don't have to start an oven if you want to do shrink paper or shrink inks. I don't know of any other term for it, but if you want to do that during the summer, you're not going to have to turn on an oven, which is a good thing. I don't know about where you live, but where I live, it's a really good thing. So without anything else, I'm going to flip the camera around and we will get started. So hold on. And I might have to adjust. Since I'm on the other side of the room, things are opposite. So forgive me if I'm not, you know, perfect tonight. Not that I am ever perfect, but hey, you know? So, alright, so for tonight. Hey Shirley, how are you? I hope your ears are okay, hun. Alright, so for tonight, we are going to be doing some stamping with StazOn. Couple things you probably want to know. We have a new stamp cleaner that's for the photopolymer. You do still need to rinse it with the scrub mat and the cleaner. Okay? Then we have the StazOn cleaner, which is specifically for StazOn. Go figure, huh? Then we have the chamois that you can put water in. And then we have the scrub mat that I just showed you with our Stampin' Mist cleaner. Now, the nice thing about the Stampin' Mist cleaner is it also has a conditioner in it for the photopolymer as well as the rubber. So, you will want to make sure to use that and see what we get. Alright, so for tonight, I don't know about you, I don't know, nobody's gotten it yet, but if anybody ordered the Magnolia, Good Morning Magnolia stamp set, let's see, hold on. So here's 2 of 2. Some nice words, some smaller stuff, a nice filigree. Yeah? Okay. Now, 1 of 2, you're probably going, my gosh, that's the whole front of the card. Well, I want to show you with doing a little bit of shrink paper how this can be something else. Okay, so we're going to do this tonight, and I'm going to show you how to do it with just a heat tool. Okay, it's an interesting ball game with just the heat tool. So I'm just moving my stuff over. I've got a little bit of shrink paper left. This is what we are looking at. So shrink paper goes to about 25% of the original size. So that is what we've got. Okay, so this obviously is actual size, or if you want to do the stamp. Okay, so it's kind of, it makes it so you can use the huge stamps and not have everything crazy. Because I don't know about you, but I don't always have a use for something that's 4 inches across. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, I didn't clean this off from when I did this, but hey, you know, it is what it is. I don't take care of my stamps well, so you know how long they last, right? We're just going to say it that way. All right, so is this going to fit here? Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to go up here. Now, with StazOn this shrink paper, you want to make sure to lift straight up, and here's the reason why. It will look like you're drunk if not, because it'll slide and smear around. And then also, if you don't lift straight up, you're going to have like these spider web things, and it's just not going to look good. So what you want to do is grab that and make sure, and then pull as much as straight off, and oh my gosh, it didn't work. So we're going to do it again. I might have to re-ink this or something, huh? So, no, I'm not going to try to go over. The other thing is this mat's a little bit wavy, so I'm going to go straight on the table and see if that helps. But we got 2 more tries if not, right? So with the shrink paper, you want to pull straight up. Also, if you don't get a good image, the other thing you need to do is get some fine grit sandpaper or the fine side of an emery board and just rough up the top or the surface of the paper. That'll allow your ink to grab, but you also want to make sure to wipe it off when you're done. Okay, so I don't know exactly what's going on, so I'm gonna grab the re-inker and hold on a second. I evidently don't have enough ink on that, and it's just not working. So we're gonna throw some more ink on this and see if that fixes it, because I just don't like that image that I'm getting. This is why you buy a pack of paper instead of a couple sheets, right? Good thing ours usually comes that way in a pack. So I'm just re-inking this because it just doesn't seem like there's enough juice in it. I did re-ink one of them, but I have 2 of them and I might have picked up the wrong one. It's okay. So I'm just going to let that soak in for a half a second. The other thing you want to pay attention to while I'm waiting for this to soak in just for a half a sec is that when you are doing StazOn Vice Memento ink, you want to make sure to have the correct markers, okay? So Memento ink, because it's alcohol-based, or because it's water-based, sorry, because it's more of a water-based, you're going to go with the alcohol pens or the Stampin' Blends, okay? Oh, nice. I got ink all over me, didn't I? Anyways, and then with the StazOn, you're going to go with the Stampin' Write markers. So you want to go opposite of what the base is. So StazOn has an alcohol base, so you want to make sure to go with a water-based marker, okay? So, otherwise it smears. So we're going to stamp this guy and hope for the best, because this is the last spot we have on this guy. And it should be good. Should be, being the key word. Alright, so we're going to drop this on here. Make sure to not slide it with all that juice going on. I might have a tiny bit. tiny bit right there, but I'm leaving it be. That's a whole lot better than the other two we did. So a lot of crafting is trial and error. So make sure that you got patience and you're up for doing the trial. And I don't know about you, but for me, the error part. So I'm just gonna wait for that to dry for half a second. I'm gonna put some stuff aside. Okay. So you actually want to wait about 2 minutes. I'm not being patient. Gee, what a surprise, huh? So what I've got here tonight, I've got Petal Pink and I've got Pear Pizzazz for my markers. Okay. And since it was so juicy, come on. Let's see if I can heat set this a tiny bit to hurry it up. Just put it on low because I don't want to shrinky dink it, right? But I do want to set that ink a tiny bit. So I got to be really careful to not do too much because then the plastic will start curing and then nothing will set into it. So, alright, let's do this and let's throw a tiny bit of color in here. And I'm going to try, I don't know if you can see this or not, but I'm going to try to not hit much of the black because I don't know if it's dry yet. And no, I don't want to try and stick my finger in it, which would be what I would normally do. But since I don't have room to do more, I gotta be a tiny bit careful, right? Okay. So I'm just touching here, touching here, touching here. Because I don't know if you've looked at magnolias ever, but the base of them has a tiny bit of pink. Yeah, it looks like that ink's dry, good. Has a tiny bit of pink to it. And then it kind of goes up and does a whitewash almost kind of effect. So I'm not putting a whole bunch of color to it because I also want the image to be the focal point. And honestly, it's going to shrink down. So do you have to worry about a lot of it? No. Okay. So I'm just going to touch here and put a tiny, teeny bit of green on the leaves. And this is Pear Pizzazz if you're wondering. Before I had used, I think it was Old Olive. It was just a tiny, tiny bit too dark for me. All right, where else are leaves? I have to say the glare is different when you sit on the other side, so it's an interesting thing how just a little tiny bit of perspective can change things, huh? So I had done the Stampin' Blends before, and I don't know, you probably can't see it now because it shrunk, but I had a little bit of smearing with the pink, and I got about halfway through and then realized that I had done the wrong marker with the wrong base. So you just want to make sure that you've done your homework and have what you need as far as tools, so that way you have a good final product. Because honestly, if you did this great thing and then put the blends to it, guess what happens? You're gonna have a whole bunch of muddy looking, smeared kind of stuff. So you want to make sure that you've got it all. And if you need the chart, I've got a chart of what ink to use what for. So just let me know how I can help you so you're not frustrated when you're sitting at your craft table. If I don't have a chart, I can probably make one, okay? So yes, I have a die for this, but honestly, because it's thicker, I didn't want to chance it possibly not cutting. And, well, the scissors were right here also. So, would I in the future use the die? Possibly, but I also didn't want to wait for everything to completely set and dry. So that would be the other reason. This I can kind of hold the edges and just make it work. Unless of course I try to cut the leaf off, which is what I just almost did. But we are good. Okay. So let's get this going. Shrinky dink you want to be a tiny bit careful with. Shrink paper, because it has a little bit of plastic in it. And you can slice your finger pretty easily. So you want to make sure that you protect yourself by not sliding your fingers across that, okay? All right, so we're gonna come back down here and we're gonna see there's my shrunk one and there's my original. So, hey Terry, how are you, hun? I haven't seen you in quite a while. So, good to see you on here, hun. All right, so with this, I have a big old pickle tweezers that I sometimes use with canning and pickling and stuff. But honestly, I mean, you could use a normal size too. It's just, I don't like being even halfway close to a heat tool if I don't have to be. So you're gonna notice this is gonna shrivel up and then shrivel back down and flatten out. Couple things to note. Yeah, you notice my thing's a little warped, but hey, you want something heat resistant, okay? Because you don't want this going through your table. Secondly, if there's a curve here, I'm gonna use that to bring out the natural curve of the flower. So you might want to use your warping for your advantage, okay? So, alrighty, so that's what we have here. So I'm going to put this on high, and you're gonna see it work. So let's see here. Am I in the center of the screen? I'm trying to get everything lined up for you before I start. Because once I start, you got to keep going, okay? So I'm going to move it here a little bit. And we're going to just make sure. I'm waiting for it to catch up to me. I think we're good. All right, so I'm going to get this going. And then like I said, if you want the ink chart, feel free. Shrink paper sets in about 10 seconds. So see how it goes? So if you need, you're not going to move your heat tool except for maybe up and down because of how it's crumpling. So if you need to make it flatten out, like that one, if it doesn't come back around, you will want to get the tweezers pretty quickly, but often it will flatten back out. So I'm hoping for the best, and we're just going to see what happens. Okay? Whoa! We don't want it to flip over though. So there we go. And we're going to see if that thing is going to flatten back out, huh? That leaf is pretty stuck on there. We might have a disaster. About 1 out of 4 don't actually come out. So we're going to see how this goes. Okay? That is pretty stuck. But we're not there yet, are we? It's still flattening back out. So we're going to finagle this a tiny bit and see. It's really hot, so it's kind of like when you're making candies. You don't want to touch the sugar, as it were. So make sure that you don't use your fingers. Okay? So if you want to break that, you might want to grab an extra set of tweezers so you have an extra set. Come on! Just because I was talking that it'll flatten back out, guess what's not going to happen, right? Alright. So let's see here. Can I get the take your pick tool and break it? Nope. So with this being said, because it's stuck like this, I'm going to heat this really good, and for about 5-10 seconds, I'm going to be able to hopefully pull it apart. So let's grab this quick and see if we can't yank it. Very tempted to pull on it, but I really shouldn't because I'll burn myself. So I'm trying, it's just not working. Come off. Nope. Okay, gotta heat it again and try again. Go back flat. It's one of the fun things about doing a live, right? You never know if it's gonna actually work or not till you're halfway through. Alright, come off. It wants to. Come off. There we go. Let's see if we can get this flattened out a little bit now. Alright, now I could probably get it to get it to do what it needs to do, right? At least let's hope so. One of the advantages to having really long tweezers is I can kind of finesse and do what I need to do. Huh. So, looks like I'll be able to save it after all. We'll see though, we're not done yet. It's the fun of playing with plastic. And then you also don't want to go too long because it will start turning brown and then smelling really bad. I wouldn't know about that though at all. I'm only kidding. So, hasn't happened for a while though, thankfully. Alright, let's turn this over and see if we can't get that a little bit flatter. Yay! Saved it. Cool. Alright. Let's give that a half a second. Flip it over and see if we can't shape that how we want it to now, huh? The Pear Pizzazz might be a tiny bit too light, so you might want to stick with the darker. I just wanted a hint of color, but like I said, it's up to you on what you want. Okay? So just another way to create. So this is going to end up... It never does it? But oh well, I saved it, so I'm happy. So with this, this will become an accent for a box or a card. You can also punch a hole and make it like a keychain or a pendant. If you do a pendant, you're going to want to seal it. So there's that. And then the hole, remember, it's going to shrink to half the size. So you want it to be at least, I think it's a 1/4 inch. Because if it's smaller than that, you're not even going to get any wire or anything in it. So you just want to play around and figure it out. So whatever a notebook punches, that's the smallest size you want to go. Yes, I know it's going to look huge, but honestly, it's going to get down to 20-25% of that size. So anyway, so that is what we're doing tonight. I will show the finished project tomorrow. And I think that's about it for tonight. So thank you for joining me. Remember, follow me, stampinwithjohnny.com. And thank you so much. Have a great night. Nice to see you, Terry. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.